In this video, we'll be looking at your options for setting up iCloud on your iPhone and iPad. And going forward, when I mention the iPhone, I also mean the iPad and vice versa, since their settings work the same as far as iCloud is concerned. So the cloud services are super useful when used on Apple's mobile devices. It allows you to quickly create contacts, notes, calendar events, reminders, no matter where you're at, and those items are then seamlessly backed up and then synced on the cloud almost instantaneously, without the need for you to do much of anything. You can also use iCloud to automatically back up all the photos and videos that you shoot. You can then set it up so that your images and videos are optimized and take a lot less space on your phone than they otherwise would. You can also have a complete backup of your iPhone stored in iCloud, so that if something happens to your device, all your data is safe and you can bring everything back exactly as it was onto a new device. But before we look specifically at the iCloud settings though, I do want to go over something which is sometimes confusing for a lot of clients I work with, and that's the issue of storage. And to be honest, running out of storage on the phone is probably one of the biggest complaints that I get from clients, and there seems to be a lot of confusion with this problem. So when we're talking about the iPhone and iPad, there's two types of storage that you need to stay on top of. First, there is your iPhone storage, which is how much physical storage space you have on the phone itself. And that's something that you choose when you purchase your phone, and that storage size cannot be changed later on. It's a fixed amount, it can't be altered or added to later on down the line. So if you purchase an iPhone with 16 gigabytes of storage, that's all it's ever going to be able to hold. If you buy 32 gigabytes, it's going to be stuck at 32 gigabytes, and so on. So of course that's different than what you can do with most computers, where usually you can add a bigger hard drive and more memory. And so then you have your iCloud storage, and that's how much storage space you have available on Apple's computers that are reserved specifically for you using your Apple ID. And that iCloud storage is something that you can upgrade later on. You can buy more space for a fee if you need to. And the reason you may want to do that is to be able to remove certain items from your phone to clear up some space, and then you can store those items on the cloud instead. So I'm going to show you how you can check how much space you have currently on both types of storage. So first, we'll look at your iPhone storage to see how much room you have left on the phone itself, since usually that's going to dictate whether or not you need to purchase extra iCloud storage. And you can find that information under Settings, and then under the General section. And then if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see the iPhone storage section. When you click on that, the phone's going to scan itself, and essentially it's going to take an inventory of everything on it, which might take a few seconds or it might take a few minutes depending on how full your device is. Once that's done, you're going to see a colored graph that tells you exactly what's taking up space on your phone. And you'll see different color sections for your apps, your photos, media, mail, and so on. At this point, you'll be able to easily see what's taking up space and exactly how much room you still have left on the device. Underneath that, you'll see a section called Recommendations, which is a new feature in iOS 11, and in my case, it's offering to clear up about 7 gigabytes of space. So the way this works is that if, for example, you downloaded a game a few months ago, and it's a pretty big game, taking up quite a bit of space, but if you haven't played that game in quite a while, if you turn this feature on, if you enable Offload Unused Space, it will remove that game from your device, as well as anything else you haven't used in quite a while. But it'll keep all your settings. So at some point in the future, you can just re-download the game if you want to play it again, and all your preferences and any progress you've made will still be there. So it'll be exactly the same way as the last time you played it. So this is a pretty cool feature. Underneath that, you'll see a list of everything that's taking up space on your device. The apps taking up the most space will be listed at the very top of the list, and that's going to give you a really clear indication of exactly what's gobbling up storage on your device. The main thing to be aware of is that the number that you see on the right of the app's name is the combined size of the app itself, as well as any content that's within the app. So for example, with me, I use an app for listening to podcasts called Overcast. And if I click on it, you can see that the app itself is really quite small at only 12 megabytes. But it's the podcasts themselves, which I've downloaded to the phone. Those are what's taking up a lot of space on my phone. So I listen to a lot of podcasts, and there's a full 20 gigabytes of audio on there currently stored on the phone. So if I were to delete the Overcast app from the phone, that would remove both the app and all the podcasts, and therefore I would clear up 20 gigabytes of space just like that. Or in this instance, I don't really want to do that. I could just go to the Overcast app and delete certain episodes to make room. now that I know that this is where it's taking up a lot of space on my phone. Typically, the apps that tend to take up the most space are going to be anything containing videos and photos, and sometimes also music up to a certain extent. So some of the apps to keep an eye on are going to be the Photos app, or any other apps that you use to shoot pictures, videos with. And if you're completely filling up your device with images and videos, you might want to consider using the iCloud photo library, which we'll look at later. The Messages app is also definitely one worth checking on because the files in there can really kind of sneak up on you. A lot of people don't really think to look there, but if you're someone that sends and receives a lot of pictures and videos with friends and family through the Messages app, you can end up with tons of space being taken up with those files until you delete them. And one of the best new features in iOS 11 is the ability to check exactly what's taking up space in your Messages app. So mine's not a great example because I've already tidied up in here, but now you're able to click on the Messages app and you'll get an exact breakdown of what files are taking up space. And from there, you can click on Photos, for example. You can see all the pictures that you currently have in the Messages app. And you can then choose Edit, the top right of the screen, add little check marks to each image you want to get rid of. And then you can click on the trash can icon to actually get rid of them. Now keep in mind, if there's an image that you see listed in here that you want to save, you're going to need to do that first. You would go to the Messages app, click and hold on an image until you see the Save option, which will save that image to your Photos library. And it's the same procedure if you want to work with videos and if you want to delete videos from the Messages app. So if you need to clear up space on your phone because it's getting full, this is the first place you should look to understand exactly what's taking up space. And this is where you can really tidy things up very nicely and usually end up clearing tons of room. So once you've done a little bit of cleanup in here, we can then move on to the iCloud section in the next video.